EOC or the day everybody got fired or whatever, So I think it was the same day that the transport got taken over or whatever. There was a sketchy figure walking around in here, and everybody was supposedly had lost their keys and wasn't supposed to be around. And I ran up, and it was Richard here in a weird disguise. And I go, what's going on or whatever? What happened? He goes,
Richard is the one who let them all out.
And I've been taken out of the prison, many times because of good behavior and stuff. And
he's the one who did undid their shackles.
Unshackled them because
that's
to
it.
get out of the prison, you got to be shackled, and when you're in shackles, you have a collar on that is a GPS collar. And so I asked him. I says, well, who unshackled them? And I said, did like Carmine get, they said, it went off the road and we got held. And I said, what, Carmine got held up and he did it? He says, no, they got away in the shackles, and Gary did it because Gary's Mr. K's son or whatever. But I was talking to Gary that whole time, and I was just like, I really don't think it's Gary. I just helped him, like he was stuck in prison or whatever all day yesterday, got disowned by Mr. K that night. Like, I really don't think it was Gary, you know what I mean? And I just know that Richard is their little pet, like their little jester boy that they make do all the shit. Because they treat him like shit when he was in here, you know what I mean? And Richard would just do anything for their approval, anything. But Carmine's the same way, and that's how they got to go on the goddamn trip anyway. Not to say Carmine's like some CG affiliate like that, but Carmine was just like so, oblivious to a little glazing that he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to take these guys out because I'm Mr. Big Shot again or whatever. And it's just like, dude, they're just...
So let me take you back. So just make sure I'm following. So one day you're walking through here. This is after everyone is supposedly have to lose their keys. And there is a man walking around with a mask. You run up to him in the prison, and you learn he is actually Richard. And
no, he didn't have a mask on. He just had like a goofy disguise, like weird mustache, and changed his clothes and shit. He just looked all different.
But he was Richard. This is after the prison break or before?
This was after the prison break because everybody was fired. Nobody was supposed to be here. That was guards.
But he still had his keys.
He did, yep.
So now, so if somebody, so the question is, who unshackled the prisoners?
Like I said, he told me Carmine, like Richard kind of fucked up because he goes, he could have just said Carmine got held up or whatever, and I would have believed that. But he goes, Gary did it after they left, and it's like, they're tracked or whatever. What do you mean? Like, even if you met them right away, you'd still see where they went.
So I
called Gary. I called Gary that night, and then that's when Gary trapped Richard. And there was actually a bunch of cops. They all trapped him in that room up there or whatever. One of the visitation rooms. Because I was like, Richard's here right now or whatever, and Gary was after him, and then a bunch of cops showed up, but then the storm hit, and I don't know what happened after that.
Can you say that last part again? I got my fucking my ears just...
Oh,
my ears popped. Say that last part again. Me and Gary, I called Gary or whatever, and Richard was running from Gary, being like scared, because Gary's like, you son of a bitch, Richard, you fucked us all or whatever. And he's yelling at Gary, or yelling at Richard, and Richard's running away from him. And he was, but Gary didn't have fucking keys, so he couldn't like go through the doors like Richard could. So Richard ran through one of the doors, and when he opened the door, there was like 4 cops on the other side of the door, like waiting for him. But then the storm hit, so I have no idea what happened. Okay, so there is a prison break. This is after the fact. There is a man.
Yeah, this was like later on that night, like hours and hours later. It was
interesting. So hours after the prison break, someone is in a funny disguise. You walk up to him, and it happens to be Richard. Now, what's odd is everyone lost their keys, but Richard still has a pair.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting.
What's going on with that car over there?
And Richard
Sometimes locals go off right there.
And Richard was, and Gary was on the outside of the fence here, screaming.
Yeah, I think he like ran in, and then Richard like actually got into the prison or whatever.
But when Richard got into the prison, where were the police? Police were inside the prison?
No, they were all outside. See, I didn't even know they were here. Like, we had no idea or whatever. Like I said, we were chasing him through that little hallway, and then he unlocked a door and went through it, and then like there was really surprisingly like 3 or 4 police right on the other side of the door.
On the outside of the prison.
On the outside, yeah.
Oh,
like kind of like
so,
waiting right at the door for when he opened it.
So you saw with your own eyes that Richard was able to go in and out still.
Yes, for sure.
Interesting.
How long after was this?
Oh, this was, probably. I mean, that kind of happened in the morning when they actually got busted out, right? It was like pretty early on, yeah. This was probably 6 hours later or something.
Okay.
Because it was after they all decided that everybody was, terminated and everything. And then I was just kind of like walking around like, God, this is like a ghost town. I'm like, who's that weirdo?
And just one last time, so Suarez called you about an hour after.
Probably even a little less, for the first time. But then met longer because, the initial call for the order was like short, like probably within 45 minutes after he dropped them. But then
how long you talk on the phone with him for? Were you on the phone for a while with him?
No, I mean, we were talking about durabilities of equipment and stuff like that. So maybe like, I don't know, less than 5 minutes, but over a few.
Okay, Luca, I ask everything I need for now. Send your comment if there's anything you want to add, or Larry.
I think we.
I just hope y'all can take these pieces and make them fit in your puzzle and do something for this, because man, I'd really like our old way back around here anyway.
Listen, I'm personally I'm telling you, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that Andy and Lily and the ones that didn't break the law and assist terrorism have a chance to have opportunity to work here again.
I mean, at the very least, if I, sitting here and rot the rest of my life and, I'm always watching my back and afraid for every short term or any lifer that's coming behind me for the rest of my days, if those people got reinstated and I know I had something to do with it, that would mean something to me anyway.
I want to ask you something that is a wild thing to ask you. What if the only way to have them reinstated was for an open confession?
So how? So what do you mean?
What if the only way to have them back was an open testimony?
Oh, and I had to testify?
Yeah. And it's okay for you to say that's off the table.
God, I don't know. That'd be really hard, but I mean, because, my life would be over. I would never be able to live in this place peacefully, you know what I mean? The people that are my only people that have my back right now will turn on me when they find out I've talked to you guys. It's not a matter of like, maybe.
Who has your back right now?
I'm saying all the other lifers, like I said, I'm one of the top, top lifers in here with respect wise. It's all just out of time of being here and what you can do or whatever, so I got a lot of respect with all these other lifers, and a lot they give us this, let me see, they make us wear these silly chains in here or whatever, and there's different colored chains for what rank you are in the gang, and I have like the OG, there's only 3 of us that are at the top of the gang or whatever, and I'm one of them. So, by doing this, I'm just kind of signing my signing my life away, because like I said, I got it pretty cush and easy in here, but it just don't seem right what happened. And those guys don't think as simple as I do, where I'm like, well, it just like they love all that. They were loving when CG was in here and tearing shit apart or whatever, you know what I mean? They loved that carnage, but I'm like, this is
I mean, it's something different, don't get me wrong, but when it gets pushed too far, it's like, all right, this sucks now. I mean, there ain't no reason Carmine should have ever taken any of them out on a trip. I mean, it took us weeks of being on good behavior to even get a chance to, like, get out of these walls at all, you know? So why would he just take a whole team of, like, somebody that actually just committed terrorism and, like, the riot the day before and just get them all in a bus and think they're gonna make it? If you want to blame anybody for the stupidity of, like, it's Carmine, and it just his, like, how weak he was to, like, get glazed for a little bit and think he could, like, actually have control over those types of people. They were using them from the beginning, and that's what they do to me too, and I understand that as well, you know, like, this whole organization will use people up and until they get what they need, you know.
Hey, Senor Cornwood, I think I've asked everything I need to ask.
I think we're good here.
All right, fellers.
I'm gonna place a drink here. I wish I had more. Let me slip it through there. I know you guys don't have much over there, but it's Senor Bun's drink.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
I wish I had some proper food to give you.
We got a slushy machine in here. It ain't too bad.
Okay.
And keep yourself safe, okay?
Slushy would be nice.
All right, guys. Just do what you can. Put them pieces in the puzzle right. You'll come to find what I told you is truth or whatever. I got nothing to lie about, honestly.
Okay. Thank you, Senor Smelly.
If you need to, like, you know, I give you permission to, like, you know, not that you need it, but if you need to look up phone kind of stuff or whatever, you know, to make that shit all connected.
We have your permission now to subpoena your phone record?
Sure.
Do we have permission to subpoena it a day prior and a day after? Like, so a day before as this phone is from the plane?
Yeah, go for it.
Will you allow us to do a week before and a week after the date?
A week before and a week after?
See.
Yeah, I mean, there's you go ahead or whatever. There's probably just you know, go ahead, whatever you need.
Okay. Thank you, Senor.
All right.
We got that right, High Command?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you this, Mr. Scenario. It is very important that this conversation we had, you know, this goes for all of us here, is not repeated or not really spoken of by anyone.
Of course not. I mean, I'm gonna, like, go back and I don't even sleep in the cells anymore. I go up on the roofs and sleep behind air conditioners. I'm so scared of getting shanked in my bunk.
Yeah, well, hell, I don't blame you. But
so trust me, I'm definitely not telling anybody about this at all.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I've been so scared to get this off my chest and talk to people or whatever, you know. I just hope that it helps you all out.
I think you gave us a lot of valuable information. We just have to kind of dissect it and piece it together.
Yep, I'm sure y'all are busy. I'll let y'all to it. Thanks for your time and everything. And just remember, if there's anything you can do down the road, there's a guy in here that sure would love to prove that he's reformed.
Okay, Senor, you have our word.
All right, buddies. Nice meeting y'all.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, take care, y'all.
All right, Mr. Scenario.
We'll keep in touch.